I've studied the globalists and how they operate for most of my life. I was fascinated with it from a very young age, seeing their statements and their admissions. When I was 6 years old, 7 years old, I liked to watch PBS Frontline. I liked to watch long Supreme Court debates, the few that they ever televised. I really found how things actually work is incredibly interesting. But then I learned that almost no one else actually wants to study how things work. And that is the reason that the eugenicist, mad scientist, post-human cult are winning. Is because the average person reactively goes through life like a spectator and not in the arena. Now, I thought about the best way to say this, but I'm just going to get it right out there. I think it will be more effective to wake you up if I actually join the dark side. I am seriously considering completely shifting into the enemy mindset and presenting all this and just telling people world government's good and that you should kill yourselves for the earth, that you should sterilize yourselves, and that you should make room for the great ascension and the great new evolution that is about to take place in the beautiful metamorphosis. And that we should be supporting Bill Gates and Prince Philip and Ted Turner and the Rockefellers and the Communist Chinese, because obviously they're in control, so that means they have a right to do this. And the public doesn't care they're slowly being killed. And the public doesn't care they're running giant slave camps in China. Apple is the worst. Of course they are. It's the purity of the classic corruption and evil with the high-tech overlay. Because the public cares, good people care, Christians care, that's the main group that's resisting and that see it. But everyone else is running headlong into it and wanting to be slaves, wanting to be slowly killed, wanting to be made unhappy, wanting to be failures, because they are not meant to go into the future. They are meant to die. And that's God's plan. Now, Satan and the globalists are just tools in that. These people were given free will. But I guess I really shouldn't hate Bill Gates and Prince Philip and the rest of them. I mean, they at least are being honest and working hard to secure the future for themselves, and they want to live forever. And they understand metaphysically that their energy is not going to be ascending. They've sold out, but they believe they can cheat it like Faust believed he could and build a new system that transcends the human body. And so that's their holy grail, and we're to be tested on, and they've been promised by their God that they will transcend and be given eternal life and be gods themselves. Know you not that you are a god? And so that's what it is. And I'm not actually apologizing to them. I don't like them. They disgust me. They're completely empty. They are deceived. They are fallen. They are enslaved. But when you're on the street and a meth head, trust fund kid walks over to you when you're walking at the park with your 3-year-old daughter and says, F you, racist fascist, you're going to prison, and you look at this servant of the devil, and they know that's not true. They don't even care. It's about them parroting the lie while they're carrying out a system that is beyond anything Hitler could have ever even imagined. But he was an offshoot of it. It's just, I'm not even mad at them. It's just, they're in fantasy land. They're losers. They're not the resistance. They're the establishment. And I had this guy this weekend, Sunday, I went for a walk down at Zilker Park, and I'm walking along the creek there that dumps into the Colorado River, and I see this guy, about 25, kind of the academic type Antifa, and he's got his, his beard and everything. And he's wearing a black top, black pants, but no Antifa stuff I could see, but I could tell. I could see how he was looking at me. He looks, and then he starts walking towards me at an angle like he's going to hit me, like he's going to do something. And so as he starts coming towards me, menacing, I just couldn't help it. I just instinctively started walking over, and I was getting ready to just drive his ass into the ground. If he was stupid, I'd take a swing. Well, it was just instinctive that I started like a magnet coming to him, and I was going to knock his ass down on that ground hard. And at the last minute, he kind of went like that and then looked scared. It's like, yeah, dude, this isn't fantasy world. This isn't LARPing. You're about to get hurt bad. And it's the same thing across the board. The globalists are killing you and your family, and they think it's funny because you never respond to it and say no. And it's time to start saying no, and it's time to stop backing down to these people. No, I'm not going to sell to the globalist. I am going to accelerate the war to the maximum. Next segment, I'm going to tell you what the globalist philosophy is. I think you already know as much as I do, most of you, but for new listeners, new viewers, they're really important. What their philosophy is, and a lot of it's true. A lot of what they say and do has a basis in logic. That's on the first few levels. And that's how they get people to sign on to it. But you find out, once you get a little bit deeper, what the real game plan is. And so my message is not just to the uninitiated out there that are ill-informed and don't know what's going on. It's not just to those of you out there that are seeking knowledge that are informed. It's also to the globalists, because that 1/10 of 100% that actually run the planet, very few of them actually know what the end game is. And so I think we should really talk about what the end game is, because we're about next year's news today, next decade's news today. And you can record this and you can save this, and in that dystopic future, you won't be able to find it on the cloud or online. You'll have to have contraband, old devices that your smart devices will refuse to even allow to be plugged in. You'll have to go through a lot of hoops to even have this saved. So I would suggest you transcribe it. And in the future, you'll have to hide it. In the near future. They're already rolling out the military. They're already rolling out the forced inoculations. They're already rolling out the ID cards to get on an airplane or have a job in the UK. It's the model of the planet. China's the first beta test. Then the UK is always the next model. Germany right behind it. And at a certain level, I almost think I should just write a book, do maybe another year of broadcast, and then just leave and just go to a farm and just leave the information there, and then it's all done. Because look, if these Democrat Party lawyers and people really want to grow up in the future where their kids are all going to die at like age 25 or so, if you really want to all be exterminated, you really want to be fried by 5G, you really want to eat GMO that leaks into your guts and gives you all the neurological disorders, if you really want this, folks, I mean, we've rationalized killing all the babies, and now we kill the old people, and COVID's a giant lie, and they admit all that. They have all these computer scientists and eyewitnesses testifying at state legislatures in Arizona and in Georgia and in Pennsylvania and now in Michigan. And Twitter's taking down the videos of congressional testimony and legislative testimony. But see, we've been made comfortable. We've been anesthetized. We've been put into a trance and paralyzed. And now they're going to take the long, enjoyable process for them of slowly sucking our entire will and future and our children's futures out of us before they kill us. By the time they kill us, we won't even be human anymore. And that's what this damn alien force, the Bible says it is doing. And you know, it has to get us to do it to ourselves. And so our enemy's not the Chinese people. It's not the Russians. It's not the South Africans. It's not the Mexicans. It's evil. But evil will mobilize and will use the collapsing world to bring down what's left of the West because of our Christian ethos and because we received the emergency transmission. And God literally avatared down here to hump the same dirt we have to go through, but a lot worse, to show his children that he's willing to do to himself what he would allow us to be going through. We have the transmission. We know exactly what old Scratch is up to, and now we can see it all unfolding. And your churches are going to tell you they're going to be putting brain chips in kids' heads within a decade at the church. You're all being betrayed by all these candy-ass men who aren't Christians but want to suck off Christians. And you see, if you don't have the contact tracing and you don't accept being QR coded or chipped to go to anywhere, your church will be deemed illegal. And they already are doing it in Europe, saying if the churches don't scan the Communist Chinese QR code, and if you don't have that injection in your body of whatever the latest vaccine is, your church isn't authorized. And then see, the churches that are real aren't going to take the nanotech injection, which is the microchipping. You're not injected with one microchip. You're injected with hundreds of little tiny ones that all have the same amount of data on them that a chip 10 years ago had. And you're saying, why don't they just spray it out of helicopters or out of planes and then we ingest it and breathe it? Metaphysically, they're not allowed to do that. Historically, they have to get you under pressure to do it. They've got to leave a way out for you on escape hatch, but they need to force you to do it. It's a push, but then it becomes a shove once God removes the barrier hedge. And then, yes, they will put it in your water, put it in your food, put it everywhere. Now, the real ultimate sin here is, though, they target children before they are of age to make the discernment. And so that's why the Satanists are so cursed, is they cheat and they lie to themselves and they break the metaphysical rule that they are not allowed to hurt innocents. They're only allowed to get adults to not support themselves and to make a bad decision to receive the spiritual interdimensional transmission from Satan. So it's real simple. They're tuned into Satan's radio channel. They like it. They like being selfish. They like being hateful. They like being greedy. They like being stupid. They like being mindless. They like just saying everything's okay. Don't worry. Oh, we're all just going to be one. But you got to be one with it. You've got to let it run you. And it tells you, don't be tribal. Don't have your own group, because it's going to overwrite you. Of course, tribes have their problems. Of course, we've been manipulated with tribalism. Of course, in general, it's bad. But Christianity created a new tribalism under God where we could all unify. They want that tribalism out and the AI Satan grid in. And that's what this is, period. And you sign on to this, you are literally signing on to being in the phantom zone with these entities for eternity. You put yourself into hell and you throw away the key. I suggest you not do it. Got a lot of big news, a lot coming up. Some key intel straight ahead. Stay with us. All right. I said I have a message to the public, a message to the globalist, a message just to the ether. And I will get to that here in a few minutes. Next segment, I want to cover something really important here. Again, I'm Alex Jones, your host. If you just tuned in, Roger Stone was going to be with us yesterday, had some technical issues. He's really called what was going to happen with the election before it happened. There is still a clear path to victory against this fraud, but we are in desperate hours. They'll be popping in start of the